There's a hidden money formula that's helping millennials outperform their parents financially, despite earning average salaries. The 20-30-50 method is something financial advisors rarely share, but it's transforming ordinary incomes into six-figure investments. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the most financially successful millennials have abandoned conventional advice and how you can implement this method starting today. There's a hidden money formula that's helping millennials outperform their parents financially, despite earning average salaries. The 20-30-50 method is something financial advisors rarely share, but it's transforming ordinary incomes into six-figure investments. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the most financially successful millennials have abandoned conventional advice and how you can implement this method starting today. If you're new here and want more content on building wealth with practical strategies that actually work for our generation, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell right now. Let's be honest, millennials are facing financial challenges unlike any previous generation. Student loan debt averaging $37,000, housing costs that have increased 30% faster than income growth, and a job market that keeps demanding more while offering less stability. Traditional financial advice simply wasn't designed for these realities. The classic 50-30-20 budget rule, where 50% goes to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings, was created in an era when a single income could support a family and buy a home. That world doesn't exist anymore. Yet some millennials are defying these odds. They're building substantial wealth despite earning completely average salaries. What's their secret? They've flipped the traditional financial playbook upside down. Instead of focusing primarily on cutting expenses and modest saving, they're using the 20-30-50 method, a completely different approach that prioritizes wealth generation over mere budget management. And the first principle of this method completely contradicts what most financial advisors will tell you. It's the exact reason why some millennials with average salaries are building wealth faster than those earning six figures. Let me show you what they're doing differently. Before we dive into the 20-30-50 method, we need to understand why traditional money management is failing our generation. The classic 50-30-20 budget made perfect sense decades ago. Back then, a 20% savings rate could actually build meaningful wealth because housing costs were reasonable relative to income. Most careers offered pensions, college didn't create crippling debt, and the cost of living wasn't outpacing wage growth. But look at the reality for millennials today. 63% of millennials are living paycheck to paycheck. The average millennial has less than $5,000 in savings, and millennials own just 3% of the nation's wealth, when Gen X owned 9% at the same age. The math simply doesn't work anymore. Even if you manage to save 20% of your income religiously, inflation is eroding your purchasing power faster than a traditional savings account can grow it. And that's assuming you can even save 20% after covering basic living expenses, which many simply can't. This is where successful millennials have made a critical mindset shift. Instead of seeing themselves as savers trying to cut expenses, they've repositioned as wealth builders, actively looking to multiply their money. Here's the hard truth. You can't save your way to wealth in today's economy. The 50-30-20 rule leaves too much of your financial potential untapped. But here's what completely changed the game for successful millennials. They stopped focusing on saving and started focusing on strategic allocation and income expansion instead. The 20-30-50 method completely reframes how you allocate your income. Unlike the traditional 50-30-20 rule that prioritizes expenses first, this method puts wealth building at the forefront. Here's exactly how it breaks down. First, 20% of your income goes directly to wealth-building assets, not just savings. This is money that's working for you, generating returns, and building your net worth. This includes investments in index funds, dividend stocks, real estate, or even a side business. The key difference is that this money isn't just sitting in a savings account losing value to inflation, it's actively growing. Next, 30% goes to strategic skill development. This is the game changer that traditional financial advice completely overlooks. This portion of your income is invested in you, building skills, knowledge, and capabilities that directly increase your earning potential. This could mean formal education like certifications or courses. It could be tools and technology that make you more productive. It could even be health investments that boost your energy and focus. The common thread is that these expenditures are strategic investments in your human capital, your ability to generate income. Finally, 50% covers essential living expenses. This includes housing, food, transportation, insurance, and essential bills. Notice this is the same percentage as the traditional rule, but it comes last in our priority list, not first. The psychological impact of this reordering is profound. When you prioritize wealth building and skill development before expenses, you naturally find ways to keep your cost of living in check. You're no longer spending first and saving what's left. You're investing first and spending what remains. Most financial experts never mention the 30% component, but it's actually the secret multiplier that turns the entire formula into a wealth acceleration system. Let's talk about why that 30% for skill development is the hidden engine of this entire method. It's the piece that transforms this from a simple budgeting technique into an actual wealth-building system. Traditional financial advice treats your income as a fixed variable. It assumes you'll earn roughly the same amount, increasing slightly with inflation or standard raises. But successful millennials know better. They understand that strategic investments in skills can dramatically increase their income potential. Here's a concrete example. Sarah, a graphic designer earning $60,000 annually, decided to allocate 30% of her monthly income, about $1,500, to skill development. Over 6 months, she invested in advanced UX/UI design courses, specialized software, and a professional portfolio website. Within a year, these skills helped her land a senior position, paying $85,000, a 42% income increase. Her initial $9,000 investment in herself yielded an additional $25,000 in annual income. That's a 277% return in the first year alone. But it's not just about formal education. Alex used his skill development budget to purchase equipment for podcast production. After building expertise through consistent practice, he launched a side hustle that now generates $2,000 monthly in passive income, all while maintaining his full-time job. This is the multiplier effect in action. The 30% you invest in yourself doesn't just return the original amount, it can multiply your earning power exponentially. And here's what makes this approach uniquely powerful for millennials. We have unprecedented access to skill-building resources at minimal cost. Online courses, mentorship programs, digital tools, all of these are available at a fraction of what they cost previous generations. Plus, we have more time to benefit from these investments. Every dollar invested in your skills at 30 has decades to compound through higher earnings. Now, I'll show you exactly how to implement this in your life, even if you're starting with nothing and feel completely overwhelmed by your finances right now. Let's break down exactly how to implement the 20-30-50 method step by step. First, you need to know your numbers. Calculate your after-tax monthly income. This is your starting point. Don't include irregular bonuses or windfalls. We'll handle those differently. Next, immediately allocate 20% to wealth-building assets. Set up automatic transfers that happen the day your paycheck lands, not after you've paid bills. This must be automatic. Your future self will thank you. For beginners, I recommend splitting this 20% as follows. 15% into low-cost index funds through a Roth IRA or 401k, and 5% into a high-yield emergency fund until you have 3 months of expenses covered. After that, redirect the entire 20% into appreciating assets. Now for the 30% skill development portion. This doesn't have to be spent every month. You can accumulate it in a separate account until you're ready to make strategic investments in yourself. Start by identifying high-leverage skills in your field. What capabilities would make you significantly more valuable? For most millennials, these include specialized technical skills, communication abilities, project management, or data analysis. Research has consistently shown these areas have the highest return on investment. If you're not sure where to start, allocate 5% to small experiments in different skill areas. Try a month of an online course, hire a coach for a session, or purchase entry-level tools. Then scale up investment in what shows promise. For the remaining 50% for living expenses, use the reverse budgeting approach. Since you've already allocated the first 50% to wealth building and skill development, you must make your essential expenses fit the remaining 50%. This often requires tough choices, particularly with housing. The most successful millennials using this method keep their housing costs under 25% of their total income, leaving room for other essentials. What about debt? If you have high-interest debt, over 7%, replace the wealth-building allocation with debt payoff until it's eliminated. Student loans with lower interest rates can be paid as part of your 50% living expenses. The timeline for results varies based on your specific situation, but here's what most people experience. Within 3 months, you'll have a new financial clarity and momentum. Within 6 to 12 months, your skill investments begin yielding tangible results. Within 2 years, you'll typically see a 15 to 30% increase in income if you've been strategic with your skill development. Within 5 years, your wealth-building assets start showing significant compound growth. And if you're thinking this sounds great, but you simply can't make the percentages work right now, start where you can. Even allocating 5% to wealth building and 10% to skill development will start the momentum. As your income grows through skill development, gradually increase the percentages until you reach the full 20-30-50 split. Let's recap what we've covered about the 20-30-50 method that's helping millennials build wealth on average salaries. First, we allocate 20% directly to wealth-building assets, investments that appreciate and generate returns, not just passive savings. Second, we invest 30% in strategic skill development, the hidden multiplier that increases our earning potential and creates new income streams. Finally, we limit essential living expenses to 50% of our income, ensuring we live within our means while still prioritizing growth. This method works because it addresses both sides of the wealth equation, not just spending less, but earning more. It recognizes that in today's economy, your highest value asset isn't your savings account or even your investment portfolio. It's you and your ability to generate income. Take Maria, who started implementing this method 3 years ago while earning just $45,000 as an entry-level marketing coordinator. By strategically investing in digital marketing certifications and analytics tools, she doubled her salary within 2 years. Meanwhile, her consistent 20% allocation to investments has grown to over $30,000, all while living in an expensive coastal city. The 20-30-50 method isn't magic. It's simply a smarter allocation of resources that aligns with the economic realities millennials face. It's about making your money work as hard as you do. If you found value in today's video, hit that subscribe button right now. Because next week, I'm revealing the 5 highest ROI skills millennials are investing in that are generating $1,000 in monthly side income while working full-time jobs. And if you're ready to take your finances to the next level, click on the video appearing on your screen now to see exactly how I use the 20-30-50 method to go from $30,000 in debt to my first $100,000 in investments in just 18 months. Remember, Financial freedom isn't about having more money. It's about having more options. The 20-30-50 method is your path to creating those options. I'll see you in the next video.